bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Well. Welcome, Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. Yeah, man, today's Monday, November 7th. 312 days into the new year, just 56 days left. This is the eve before Election Day. Quite possibly the most important day in our nation's history, happening tomorrow. I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planets. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you feeling? How you feeling? Did you ever think that we would get here, right? Tomorrow's Tuesday, November 8th. And with that, tonight, we have Mark Dice with us for preview of tomorrow's election. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra is going to be here, along with Andy Bishago is going to be here. That's right. Candidate Andy Bishago. All right, so that's tomorrow night, and it will be a full night of election coverage tomorrow night. I don't know if we're going to run over tomorrow night. I don't know. I just don't know how it's going to play out. And we kick things off tomorrow night at our normal time of 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Pacific, and then what the status is of the states and who's turned in and what is going on, don't know, right? So we'll find out tomorrow night live in real time. But Mike Barrett's going to be here. He's going to co-host with me all night long, and then Andy Bishago is going to stop by and give us his take about what's going on. And there you go. So tomorrow night's a big night. Tonight is a big night with Mark Dice here. And then Wednesday, we're going to have Jim Mars here for an election wrap-up and, of course, what we can expect for the next 4 years. It's going to be 3 interesting shows this week. And kicking it off, we went out. Rita got the very, very best for this week. And so with Dice and Bear and Bishago and Mars, as far as election coverage goes, and of course the conspiracy side of all of that, we are bringing you the very best. So there you go. Thursday night's going to be another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake Newsroom. Of course, we'll have open lines all night long. And that should be an interesting night as well. So there you go. Follow me on Twitter right now at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do, at JChurchRadio. You can follow me on Facebook and YouTube. Everything is Fade to Black or Jimmy Church Radio or, whatever. Just go follow, like, and subscribe. You can follow Mark Dice at Mark Dice. He's got that little blue verified check mark next to him in Twitter. And, of course, his YouTube channel, which is Mark Dice. All right? The Sandbox is hashtag F2B. Come and hang out with us on Twitter. It's been a busy weekend. I was watching and following Twitter all weekend. We were completely buried here and setting up for this week, and also following all of the news over the weekend, which was also very interesting. We'll be talking to Mark about all of that in just a minute. Questions or comments throughout the show tonight, just use the hashtag F2BQ. Check out the podcast. Podcast is only $2 a month. We've got a big announcement that will be coming up very shortly, not only about the podcast, but some other stuff that we will be featuring on the website. We are now ready to go with that. So we'll probably officially launch that by Thursday of this week. Okay? With that, I just did all of my Life Change Tea drops right before the show. And you can go there right now. Go to getthetea.com. And all of the supplements that you need in your life, get on the program right now. Getthetea.com. Use the promo code Jimmy when you order, either over the phone or online, and get free shipping. Just go to the specials page. All right, there you go. Check out our newest sponsor. And check this out. That is by far, the best coffee in the world. And of course, I'm talking about River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Been watching everybody post on Facebook and Twitter, and you guys are so excited, and you got the coffee. The coffee is amazing. Fade to Black blend. We are drinking it now. Rita's drinking it down the hall. I'm drinking it in here. And I got to tell you, it's got everything. It's got the smell, it's got the taste, and it is so complex. And the chocolate stuff that's going on. Let me verify. Man, that is complex. Complex. Good stuff. F2B blend is the code. That's all you got to do. Fade to Black blend, F2B blend. For 15% off of your order, just go to the River Moon Coffee banner on our site. I haven't been this excited in a while, not only with a sponsor, but with coffee, because we are shopping for coffee all the time, trying to just find the perfect thing. And then when you do, right, and you think you're getting close, and then you go and you drink, this is the last word right here in coffee, Fade to Black blend. Also, the Studio Dome Fader Night Special, hard shell case packed with a portable stereo Bluetooth system featuring 2 SBB2 speakers and power in stereo. Real Bluetooth wireless stereo, $129. Just use the promo code promo code JCRTWS. That's all you got to do. 60% off the normal price of $399. All right, let's get the show cracking. Today, happy birthday to Joni Mitchell. She is 73. Kiss guitarist Tommy Thayer is 56. And I know Tommy. I've known him for a long time. And I know he's in Kiss. And I get that. And he's been there for a long time. But he will always be the dude in black and blue. That was a great, great hair band from the 80s. All right, our dead guy's birthday is Dana Plato. Remember Dana, 1964 to 1999, died at the age of 34. Starred on TV's Different Strokes from 1978 to 1986. But her promising screen career was cut short when she died of an overdose of prescription drugs at the age of 34. Dana Plato, 1964 to 1999. Happy birthday. On this day in history, 1980, the king of cool, Steve McQueen, dies in Mexico while undergoing an experimental treatment for cancer, melanoma. Bullet and the Great Escape. That is all. That's all I have to say. Fader fact. It's estimated that 93,000 Canadians live in the United States with expired visas. more than any other group of immigrant. And that is a fader fact. I would have never have guessed. I would have never in a million years. I'm waiting for a Twitter to blow up here and go, church. Oh, man. Looks like my Twitter crashed. Did you guys crashed my Twitter? It's gone. All right. Interesting. And, okay, everything went. And if Rita, if you're listening, our text went too. Great. Oh, it hasn't been running. Okay, great. All right, anyway, moving on as quickly as possible here. Let's do this. Tonight, Mark Dice is with us. We're going to do a full week of election coverage. And it's not so much, and I don't want everybody to be bummed out. All right? Don't be bummed out that that's what we're doing, because we're doing the conspiracy side of the election. That's the first thing. And always remember that the world around you is not what it seems. It's just not. And when we not only, it is the media, but it's not so much that. Because of what the media has done and flipped this country upside down, you included, they have made this the most important day in our country's history, and it's happening tomorrow. You can feel the tension. There is tension over at our house. There's tension everywhere you go. Over the weekend, Rita and I went to go and have lunch with her family. Tension, just tension, and you can feel it. You can see it. So it's everywhere. And so you can thank the media for that. What I asked everybody to do, I think it was last Thursday, is when you go and you vote tomorrow, and I said, vote with your heart. Well, what I meant? Well, I meant that, of course. But what I meant was vote with what you think is right, not with what the media is telling you, not with what these candidates are telling you, not what anybody, WikiLeaks or the FBI or Trump and Trump and his lies, or Hillary and her crimes. And, we're not on the Trump plane. We don't know Trump. You've never flown with Trump. You don't know Trump. You don't know Hillary. You just don't. Is she a member of the Illuminati? Probably. Is she a Bilderberg? Yes, she is. I get all of that, and we'll be talking to Dice about that. But we need to make a decision and get this behind us, and then, buckle up and figure out how we're going to get through these next 4 years, and we're going to talk to Dice about that. But there's a conspiracy here. There is. And I love a good conspiracy just as much as the next guy. It's what I live for. Man, you should hear, if you could, you should hear these conversations that Rita and I have been having. And especially, especially the last 30 days. I mean, it's rough. It's rough. It's rough. We're both accusing each other of swinging the other way. And as soon as we think that the other person has swung the other way, we're accusing the other person of swinging back the other way. We're second-guessing each other. Rita knows me better than anybody, and she knows exactly where my heart lies. My heart lies for this country. She knows this. And I know that about her, too, as well. She's very proud of this country and everything that it stands for. But we are questioning things. And then today, when it comes to conspiracies, and when I say that I love a good conspiracy as much as the next guy, actually for me, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like a good conspiracy, because you get to go and read about it. Your stomach freaks out, kind of turns into a little knot, and you think to yourself, nah, really? Nah. That's what happens, right? And you kind of freak. And then you start doing some research. You dive into it. Sometimes you prove it, sometimes you don't, and sometimes the jury is still out. But that's what's great about a good conspiracy, a good one. And then today, there was this gem going viral on the net. I'm quoting here the headlines that were everywhere. The fix is in. The election is a fraud. This Newsweek cover proves the election is rigged. Of course, InfoWars jumped all over it. It went all over every single conspiracy site, and everybody's freaking out, and there you go. Comes hot on the heels of Comey yesterday saying, you know what? Clinton's in the clear. Not changing our mind on this. We're not pressing charge or no prosecutor, whatever, right? So we're going through this crazy 24 hours, and then this cover pops up. Yes, it was a commemorative edition of Newsweek, and it's being cited as evidence now that Hillary Clinton is stealing the election and that the news media is all in on it. And so I looked at the cover, and I immediately jumped, and I just saw it. It was all over the place, and I did what you guys probably did today. Right-wing blogs and Facebook forums lit up with the fake news story today after a woman tweeted out a picture of Newsweek's Madam President cover. There it is, Madam President. And the story, and you open up the magazine, and there it is. Oh, there it is. There's the evidence. Most of the sites ignore the obvious explanation, though. A Clinton cover and a Donald Trump cover are both in the works, people. Some people would rather just believe the conspiracy theory, and I get that too. I do. So today, when asked for comment on the Clinton cover, Newsweek editor Jim Empolko responded very simply. He said by posting a picture of the President Trump version of the cover. So that went out there. Yes, and I tweeted both versions, by the way. And somebody retweet my tweet. Can you do that for me? Send out both covers, and I'll retweet that. Now, this is the media version of the World Series keepsakes that were on sale in Cleveland and Chicago last week. And if you think about it, street vendors printed Cubs win and Indians win T-shirts. That's what they do. And then they take the trashed Indian T-shirts because the Indians lost, and you know, they trash them and get rid of them. Sometimes they actually send them to Africa to families without clothes. I swear, you could probably go to Africa right now, go to Haiti or go to Venezuela, and you will see an Indians win T-shirt. You'll see it, right? That's what they do. They print this stuff in advance. The commemorative editions are actually produced by a separate company. They're called Topics Media, and it's done under the Newsweek banner, of course. And so Topics editor and head of the company, his name is Tony Raimondo. Tony said today, for the past 6 months, Newsweek special editions have been piecing together a Road to the White House tribute issue for both major party candidates. Yes, and of course they are. Raimondo shared all of the pages today, and that both versions actually exist. And now you can go and see both versions out there. They're all over on the web. But Topics made a business decision, and when you go and do this, somebody's rolling the dice. And in this case, it was Tony Raimondo's decision to only print the Clinton version ahead of time because he felt that she was almost universally favored to win the election tomorrow. Now, that's a bad business decision, but it's his business decision to make. I know that if I were to make that decision, Trump wins. That's just the way it goes, right? So don't print either. That's what you do. But you have to print one. So it hits the newsstands immediately after the election on Wednesday, right? He's taking a chance. Trump wins. They've got to throw all of those copies away. Then they got to rush to the printer and print the Trump version, which is already ready to go. They just made a business decision to print the Clinton versions ahead of time. It's a bad gamble. It's a bad gamble, but one that you have to make. And hopefully he made the right one and he gets to keep his job. Otherwise, There's probably millions of dollars lost in the printing, shipping, and distribution of the Clinton rags, right? Now, of course, if Trump wins, the Clinton copies will be trashed and the Trump version is going to be rushed to the printing presses. And it's a business calculation, and it's a decision. I get that. But those sorts of decisions are all made at the time, or they're all made all the time in the publishing industry, of which I was a part of for a long time. And I get that. But the reactions to the leaked Clinton cover, it just shows you how some Trump supporters have been primed to believe that the election is being stolen, right? And, and I get that. This is all the media. I mean, all the media. There were some posts this week, I'm not going to say where, that were mentioning me. And a couple of forums and a couple of places. And were calling me a Clinton supporter, right? And that, and in this one form, and I'm reading it, it said that, Trump, should he lose, he needs to go and check and go forward with this rigged election investigation. And it doesn't matter. And I watched the threads. It doesn't matter if he wins. And this argument was going back and forth with, Jimmy Church said, well, you know what? It's not about what I meant, and I mean this. If Trump wins, right? If he wins, then does he also, because the election's rigged, right? It's rigged. Does he look into Republican rigging for him to get into office, or does he let that go? Or if he loses, does he look into the Republican rigging for the election that was unsuccessful in getting him in? Shouldn't he be pissed off? I think all of that goes both ways. And if he does win, he should go and look at the election rigging that he says is there on both sides. And let's find out as an American people, because you took it this far. And I really mean this. A bunch of websites today, one of them said the fix is in. And that was from a site called DC Clothesline. After a woman identified herself as a bookstore owner, tweeted the now famous photo of Madame President of the cover. Other sites with names like, I jumped around, Investment Watch Blog posted a series about the media colluding with the Clinton campaign to prepare for the election. Then it spread to InfoWars. InfoWars picked it up, and of course now they're outraged, right? And all the Trump supporters over there, this is it, this is proof. InfoWars actually said today, and I'm quoting here, one thing we know for certain is that Newsweek will not be publishing a special commemorative edition of its magazine that is favorable to Donald Trump if he wins. Now, we now know that is not true, right? Both of them have been published. They're both out there, both covers. But InfoWars, and Alex, who influences so many, and you go and do something like this, you are fanning the flames, right? And you just can't do that. I'm not going to do that. All right? There are two separate teams over at Newsweek that have worked to create two special editions, and they're ready to go. You need to understand that. That's why I took the time today to publish both covers and to get those out there posted. And then that bookseller chick, she deleted her account after the tweet triggered all of these conspiracy theories today. And that started a brand new set of theories. I don't know if she got in trouble at work, because booksellers and magazine shops, they agree not to release publications before their on sale date. You have to understand, unlike hard news magazines, everybody, unlike those, commemorative editions for sporting events, elections, and deaths, if you think about it, are created weeks, months, or maybe even years in advance. The largest publishers right now have dozens of tributes ready to go to print at plants across the country. This is what they do. This isn't even a Dewey defeats Truman thing. It's not the same thing. All right? And when you think about it, anybody that is old right now, just pick somebody that is old. that is still alive, that is uber influential and uber famous, right? All of them have their special editions ready to go. And so what if you got a hold of one of their special editions? What if that was, then you'd be like, oh, dude, it's the Mandela effect. See, he already died. She died already. She's not even alive. Right? You can't operate that way. That's all this was. That's it. But we are so fired up as a country, we're ready to believe anything. I knew it the second that I saw the Hillary cover. I knew exactly what was going on. My stomach didn't freak out. I got nothing. I knew it immediately. And it was the one time where I was hoping for something good. I was hoping for something tasty and delicious to bite into. But not this time around. There is no conspiracy. And I got kind of bummed. And I got even more bummed to see everybody freaking out across the net. And then you have the ones that are upset about this. And then you have the other ones that are going, aha, see, I told you so. All of it when there was nothing there at all. It was a simple tweet from somebody who got the magazine shipped to them, a commemorative magazine shipped to them in advance. And they weren't supposed to sell it until Wednesday. That's it. There's nothing here, folks. Move on. Move on. Tomorrow's the most important day. The most important day. I haven't felt this tension in a long time. I want all of you to go out and vote. This is your one chance to make a difference, whatever that difference is that you want it to be. Now, the media, I don't know if you can believe the polls. I don't know. If there's an ounce of truth in any of it, it's a neck-and-neck situation. This can go either way. And if you don't go out there and vote and it goes against what you want, then you've got two choices, either to buck it up and say, I screwed up, or two, move to Canada. You know, that's it. That's it. This is Fade to Black. You are welcome. Coming up, the one and only Mark Dice. We are doing a full week of election coverage right here on Fade to Black. Now, Mark Dice is going to be here. He's one of the smartest. He's one of the best. This is what he does every single day. He's one of the most knowledgeable and influential guy on the street, period. We have him here tonight on Fade to Black. Listen. That is all. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Klutsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fade-or-Nots rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Massey, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Tonight we have Mark Dice with us for a preview of tomorrow's election. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra and Andy Bishago are going to be here for a full night of election coverage. Wednesday night, Jim Mars is going to be here for an election wrap-up and what we can expect for the next 4 years. Thursday night's another Fader night with John Rappaport and his No More Fake newsroom. Of course, we're going to have open lines all night long, and I think that will be the most interesting night of open lines that we've ever had on this show. But tonight, it's about Mark Dice. He is a media analyst and an author who specializes in exposing secret societies and the power of the mainstream media and celebrities and what they have on shaping our culture. His YouTube channel has received over 100 million views. Probably by today, it's 200 million. And his viral videos have been mentioned all over the place. ABC, Fox, CNN, Drudge Report, TMZ, New York Daily News, New York Post, all around the world. He has been featured on the History Channel's Decoded, Ancient Aliens, America's Book of Secrets, Secret Societies of Hollywood on E!, America Declassified on the Travel Channel, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura on True TV, and he's a frequent guest on Coast to Coast AM, Alex Jones, and of course, here at Fade to Black. Dice is the author of The Illuminati, Facts and Fiction Inside the Illuminati, The Bilderberg Group, Facts and Fiction, Big Brother, The Orwellian Nightmare Come True, and of course, The Bohemian Grove, Fact and Facts or Fiction. Tonight, we're gonna go through it all, folks, and so just get ready, and I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, the one and only Mark Dice. Mark, good evening, man.
Thanks, bro. I'm exhausted. I know probably everybody's exhausted, not just those of us who've been covering this election, but those of us who have just been paying attention. It is just mentally exhausting. I think that we're all at the end of such a long campaign that so many twists and turns and so much dirt and mud being slinged and so many different conspiracies and new emails being linked up and allegations. It has been absolutely insane, and it is coming to the crescendo here in just over 24 hours. Hopefully we will have the answer. I mean, this election has been so crazy that who knows, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a tie
right.
in the Electoral College and has to go to the House of Representatives as another boomerang would be, another curveball would be thrown into this campaign.
It's been a mental beatdown on the American public. I mean, like a tap out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like I'm just exhausted from covering it. But like I said, I'm sure everyone's just sick of it from watching. And it's become not about policy. I mean, every election, I guess, is really about mudslinging. But I don't think for the last at least month or two, we don't hear really anybody, particularly the surrogates or the mainstream media, talking about whose tax plan is going to be better, or who has a better idea for jobs, or for the policies regarding trade. It's literally just who can sling the most mud, who can hope to get the most mud to stick to their opposition, and then hopefully someone will vote for the opposing party that they are less disgusted with. It's fascinating.
I'm going to run down some numbers here about you, and then I'm going to bust you with the big question first. So we're going to start off on the heavy side. 638,000 subscribers to your YouTube channel. You've got 92,000 Twitter followers. You've got almost 350,000 likes on your Facebook page. Now, that means two things. One, you have influence, right? You do. You cannot deny that fact. But the most important thing is that you also get a lot of posts, you get a lot of email, you get a lot of responses. You're out there on the streets. You're actually walking around with a microphone and talking and speaking to people, and you've been doing this in a direct fashion for years. So the question is, with all of that knowledge, with everything that you have at your disposal right now, what's your prediction?
I don't have a prediction. The prediction is that it's too close to call, because we're seeing such an insurgence in the last few weeks of Trump in the polls. That is, even if you can believe the polls.
Right.
But based off of the turnout that he's gotten and continues to get at his events, based off of the people being completely sick of the Clintons, particularly Hillary Clinton, want to send them off into the sunset to retire. You know, I would hope that it's going to be Trump. I fear, of course, that the establishment will do anything and everything they can to get Hillary in. We're talking about an outsider pushing against the most well-organized criminal enterprise on the face of the planet. I mean, this is the Illuminati mafia. This is the Bilderberg octopus. But I think that it's possible to overcome it with such a grassroots level insurgency. And I think that my social media, independent media success reflects that, because I don't have, a big company behind me. I mean, sure, I'm using big companies' tools. I'm using, Twitter, and I'm using YouTube's infrastructure, but nobody is telling me what to do or what not to do, or, giving me any equipment, or, flying me to places, or giving me access to different events. So, I mean, I am just an independent news analyst with a bachelor's degree in communication, who, as this new technology started developing, just started using it in the early days of YouTube in 2006, and long before any of the monetization, long before any of these supposed, social media stars were to arise, or before anybody would really realize what it would become.
Right.
And now, unfortunately, so many people are putting the cart before the horse. People in the early days of YouTube, we just were fascinated with the technology, and we thought, this is amazing. We can share a video with someone on the, we kind of take for granted how easy that has become now. But back in 2006, it's fairly difficult. Or if you didn't have a website, how would you share a video? If it was very, very short, you could maybe send it as an attachment. But to see the technology evolve, and then to see independent people rise up and really grasp a hold of it and use it for good, it's been amazing. And that's what Trump is doing through Twitter. They're doing Facebook Live broadcasts. And so it's a grassroots movement, really against the most well-oiled criminal enterprise, And so I don't have a prediction. I can only hope and encourage people to actually get out the vote. And on YouTube, they have their hashtag vote IRL, meaning in real life, for those who aren't up to speed on their internet lingo. And that's really shows that we've become such a point and click culture that, a lot of things in life actually require you to get out of the house, and voting is one of them. So I encourage everybody to get out and vote, not just for president, but also for the local measures as well, for local propositions, for who's going to be on your school board, other congressmen, things like that as well.
You know what's amazing? I actually want to remind me. I want to come back to the Senate and the House and because there's other elections going on too, right? So I want to come back to that. But I want to say this in a kind of in a non-offensive way. When you were out doing your Hillary petition for the repeal of the Bill of Rights, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you were wearing a Hillary. You were wearing a Hillary T-shirt.
Yeah.
Now, did anybody come up to you and comment on the Hillary shirt? One, and two, do you think in Southern California you could have worn a Trump shirt?
I don't think that a lot of people really paid any attention to the. I mean, I guess they paid attention to the shirt. They thought I'm just working for the Hillary campaign. Are you asking if Trump supporters would have done the same thing?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think they would have. And call me biased here, but I am a conservative, and I tend to have find that liberals pay less attention. Liberals, because they're very political mindset, want a big government, want the government to take care of them. It's sort of their big brother, their daddy, the cradle to grave system. Whereas conservatives, Republicans tend to be more of a kind of do-it-yourself kind of guy.
Right.
They don't want the government to be involved. They're small business owners and business starters, and just leave me alone. Let me do my own thing. Whereas the liberals tend to suck off the government teat a little bit. And so I think
shouldn't we? But shouldn't we? And you're absolutely right. You've nailed it on the head. But don't we need both so we strike a balance in the middle, right? You know what I mean? One kind of fixes the other and keeps the other in check.
There are good and bad in both parties, obviously. There's a tremendous amount that I disagree with the liberal agenda, with the Democrats. There's going to be a small area where we could all kind of agree on. And then I think on the fringes, it's quite obvious that
it's too crazy.
The more extreme it is on both sides. And the further away from reality people get, the Trump supporters who think that Trump is going to be able to deport all the illegal aliens, they don't even have any idea how the system works. I mean, Congress would block it, obviously. The courts would block it. There would be people physically block, even if those two didn't stop it. There would be people physically blocking the freeways. It would be the most chaotic scene in the country.
Well, and you know what? You know what else? There's not enough planes and trains and automobiles, right? You would never be able to purchase a plane ticket for the next 10 years, right? Because it would be knotted up with 15 million. Think about it, right? You would. Where are those planes coming from? So, but so this is okay. Now this is the other point that, and then I want to come back with the other elections that are going on. Is have you ever, because you've been a critic of mass media from the get-go, and so have I, we can both agree on that. Have you ever in your life seen the influence of the media on both sides? It's both sides are there, but the deliberate attempt to screw with America's minds. I mean, it has been blatant for nearly a full year.
It's stunning. And I think that's why my YouTube channel has skyrocketed in success. I mean, it's getting an average of 1,500 or 2,000 new subscribers every single day. I mean, it's in a YouTube world, that's a pretty substantial growth. I mean, to have, I'd say even a channel that has 250,000 subscribers, that's a pretty solid fan base. But to get 600,000 that I have, and most of those have been pouring in the last few months since I've really been dedicated to debunking the liberal agenda, the smears. How I became a Trump supporter is I just started debunking the liberal lies that were being pushed and painted onto him. But have I ever seen anything like it? No. Not only have I never seen anything like it in broadcast media. For anybody, I feel sorry for anybody who just comes home, after a hard day's work. Maybe if they don't listen to any talk radio, if they just kick back after dinner and watch the evening news on the major broadcast networks, ABC, CBS, NBC. I mean, it's stunning to see the slants and the smears. And so it's not only just in the news. It's also bled over into like sports broadcasting. We have ESPN is politicizing and smearing Donald Trump. Sports news websites like Deadspin are promoting and promoting Hillary and trying to smear Donald Trump in things that aren't even sports related. Tech websites like CNET and Wired magazine are promoting in Hillary Clinton and trying to smear Donald Trump. Now, occasionally with the tech websites, there may be a tech tie-in, since basically social media has become such a large part of this campaign, with allegations and tweets running rampant. You were talking earlier about the people jumping to conclusions about the Newsweek magazine cover.
Right.
So there is a little bit of a tie-in with tech and the elections. But to see CNET and Wired and Deadspin and ESPN all carrying on in the comedy shows on late night, it's blatant smearing Trump. A little jab here at Hillary. It is astounding to see. And that's, again, why I think my YouTube channel has been so popular lately, because I'm just showing the hypocrisy. I'm showing the lies, the bias, the insanity. And it's just absolutely shocking. And we see it on social media as well, with the manipulation of the trending topics,
right?
The preventing of certain topics from trending, or when you do see a topic trending and you click on the hashtag or click on the title, the top search results for that hashtag will be slanted. It's shocking to see how it's all happening. And I feel sorry for those who are younger, or maybe those who haven't really watched this technology progress, or perhaps we're too busy with work and kids and other issues to really spend a lot of time kind of looking at this kind of stuff. They come home from work, or after dropping the kids off to basketball practice or dance class, and they come home and they just have a few minutes to check what's trending and maybe watch the news. For those people who aren't aware of the depth of the manipulation, it's easy for them to get swept away and to get pushed into the direction that the establishment wants them to go.
And we also have this, and it's been going on for a while, but it's never gotten out of control like it has this year, which is these fake news websites, right? And they're everywhere. All of this clickbait that seriously lack of morals. I don't care who you support. Okay, I don't. It doesn't matter to me. It just doesn't. That's what makes this country great. But tell the truth. Don't go out and mess with people's heads. And today, as you know, people don't pay attention. They don't vet. They don't really listen as much as they used to. You go out on the streets yourself, like your Bill of Rights video, right? And people will sign anything. They're not even listening, right?
No.
They're not. And now with this clickbait out there, and this fake news, it is screwing with people's heads, and they would rather post like today, the Newsweek cover, right? What it doesn't. It could have been Trump's picture, predicted, right? And that went out instead of Hillary's today. It doesn't matter. It's just. And boom, the conspiracy theories start immediately because nobody wants to go and check out why. What is going on with this? And should we have some kind of freedom of speech laws now that you just can't report fake news? I hate to have it come to that point, but it's created an aura of darkness around here.
You're making some fantastic points. That was on my list of things to talk about with you, because I couldn't have said it better. Let me just add to it. We're seeing not only the fake websites, the wannabe YouTube news analysts, okay, who will put out a video, usually just with this, a basic screenshot of them narrating over a couple websites, and they'll put a sensational title on it, and they'll post it on their social media, and it spreads like a virus. And people don't see who it's from. People just see, oh, it's from the such and such a whatever YouTube channel, which you don't even see really until after you click on the link. All you see is a sensationalist title, and you see a perhaps well-crafted thumbnail. Oh, it looks like a decent news report. And so people click on it, it scares them, then they share it, it goes viral. And what's really caused a lot of this is when YouTube opened up their monetization to everyone. Now, it used to be where you would have to have a certain amount of subscribers, a certain amount of views. You would have to have certain watch statistics. You would apply to YouTube to get a monetization.
Right.
But then when they rolled out their content ID system, they were a little bit more able to detect people uploading copyrighted material like movies and TV shows and stuff. So that kind of opened the door for them to monetize everybody. And so what happened is people now see these YouTube dollar signs in their eyes and see their potential for social media, celebrity or recognition. And so they put out the most sensationalist crap. And they just want to get those views. They want to get that YouTube AdSense money. They want to make a couple bucks off of that video. They want to get that 100,000 views on that video and make a couple dollars. And I've seen with myself and a couple of the old school original YouTubers. I mean, I was making YouTube videos for, I think, 7 years before I had any advertisers or made any money. I just was doing it because I liked it and I could put out information. I would sell my books at the end. I'd be like, hey, if you like my videos, go buy my books, right?
Right.
And that's a passion that then turned into a career. I make some money from YouTube, some from my books as well. But now, because so many people, they're putting the dollar signs ahead of, and it's the cart before the horse, and they're so corrupted by that clickbait YouTube AdSense, or they're just paranoid people. And even if they're not monetizing their videos, they're just putting out the most insane crap because, I mean, in the past, you have to run it by an editor, and your editor would run it by the lawyers and be like, wait a minute, we can't post that on our website. Like, we'll get sued. So it's a double-edged sword because anybody can post anything. That's the good thing. But the bad thing is anybody can post anything.
It's a fascinating social trend. And the prevalence of these fake sites, they're there because, quite frankly, people without morals just want to make money, and they are making lots of it. These are spider webs of sites that go out, and once it goes viral, once it catches with that sensational headline, and it could be whatever, Trump is a puppy killer, right? Hillary is a pedophile, whatever it is. These things go out and they're viral and they make a lot of money. So these guys don't care, and they're well crafted. The articles are well written, so well written that somebody's going to read the first paragraph and look, and it could be what was it that I read the other day? It was like abcnews.com.co, right? Now you're going to think that that's ABC News, and you know what I mean? And it just doesn't seem right to me. It just does morally. I keep going back to morals. Yeah. I guess you and I have too many of those things, but I would never do it, but somebody just thinks it's funny.
And I don't want to mention any of those sites specifically because I don't even want anybody to go and check them out of curiosity because I don't want to give them any extra page views. But there are some that have become fairly well known to us who've been watching and keeping track of this. And they'll make just fake quotes from an NYPD officer. They'll say, Hillary Clinton about to be arrested for pedophile connection. NYPD officer so-and-so says, or, an FBI source says, and they'll just manufacture quotes. So I just got a text message from a friend of mine, about, I saw that the NYPD or the FBI is going to arrest Hillary Clinton for this and this and this. And literally 24 hours later, they announced they're going to drop the charge. They're dropping the investigation. And so, a quick way to sort of investigate these things is, if it's from a website that you have never heard of, that's not, some of these sites can get fairly reputable over time, like the Daily Caller or townhall.com.
Right,
okay?
right.
Where you kind of, that's a pretty, big out, Breitbart.com, right? You get these, it's a pretty reputable outlet. Like, they have integrity and they have lawyers and they got, they got a lot of, they're definitely not judgment proof. So if they put out some sensationalist crap, like someone's going to come after them. But these just no-name websites, again, that I'm not going to mention because I don't want people to check them out and give them page views. if you just copy and paste their, I mean, that's the first red flag. Is if it's from a website you've never heard of, that's not one of the, the major alternative sites like the ones I just mentioned. That's a red flag right there. But a quick way to determine whether or not this is true. I mean, I went to the link that the guy sent me, a friend of mine, and I just copied the supposed quote from the supposed FBI official, copied it, pasted it into Google. And the only thing that came up was that website. Okay, so I mean, if this FBI official made this statement, he certainly is not going to give this official or this exclusive to this random website that nobody has ever heard of. Okay, that's not going to happen. I just saw another one where people put a fake tweet out from making it look like WikiLeaks that was to Hillary Clinton that said, "You have until tomorrow to drop out of the race, or else we're going to drop the biggest bombshell." And then I see people making YouTube videos about it. And I'm like, you idiots didn't even go to WikiLeaks' Twitter feed to spend 5 seconds to verify whether or not they had sent that tweet out, which they did not. Okay, before you jumped on and took a screenshot of it and started posting it and made a whole YouTube video talking about it. It is sickening.
I've got an email here. You just reminded me, so I went back and grabbed it. I got an email right here. It says, "Jimmy, check this out. You've got to talk about this on the show. The NYPD is planning to expose Hillary pedophile ring in a press conference."
Yeah.
Right?
It's insane.
So when I first got that email, I immediately did what I cut and paste, throw that into Google, and I get nothing. Yeah. I get 5 or 6 sites that are these no-name sites, right? But nothing that leads anywhere. Of course, I'm going to freak out on that. I mean, really? So I do try to take the time to check it out, but I never mentioned it on the show, and I never found anything anywhere. But somebody, one of our fans out there, saw it and was so compelled to take the time to send me the email, right? That's the trippy thing. People are buying into so much of this fake news. Now, let's take a break right here. When we come back, we've got to talk Comey and the timing of all of this and what is playing on behind the scenes. I watched your video on this too as well. Our guest tonight, Mark Dice. We are doing a full election preview tomorrow. Could be the biggest day in this country's history. My guest, Mark Dice. Follow Mark at Mark Dice on Twitter, and of course his YouTube channel right there, Mark Dice. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's Angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at Angioprim.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and This is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church. The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129 and use the promo code JCRTWS and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
All right, welcome back. Our guest tonight, Mark Dice, the Mark Dice. Doing a preview of tomorrow's election. Tomorrow night, Mike Barra and Andy Bishago are going to be here for a full night of election coverage. Wednesday night, Jim Mars is going to be here to wrap up and talk about what we can expect over the next 4 years. Yeah, I'm on pins and needles, Mark. I have no idea how this is going to play out, but I know how you feel about any 3-letter agency. Okay, so we can kind of start there. What do you think? Do you think the FBI was trying to have a dog in this race, and the timing of everything was a little suspect? Because if he was trying to, this is my take. If he was trying to slow down Hillary's momentum, right? He indeed did that, but then he screwed it all up twice, right? And so I'm not too sure what side of the fence he's on, but he certainly was vocal about it. Should he have just kept his mouth shut?
I think the only reason he released that letter last week is because if he didn't, I think he was concerned that he possibly could have been charged with obstruction of justice if Trump gets in and wins, because the other agents that did discover the emails, that did discover the evidence, word would get out at some point to someone in a position of power. So I think the only reason he did that is to cover his own butt. And I think it's clear to anyone other than the most far left-wing liberal brainwashed zombies that Hillary Clinton clearly committed multiple serious felonies. And there is a double standard for those in positions of power. We've already seen multiple cases of people in the military, taking a laptop home, or there was a case of a guy taking a few photographs on a submarine just to show his wife. And he was sentenced to a year in prison because obviously some of the instruments on the submarine are considered to be top secret or classified. So there's clearly a double standard. And those on the inside of the government may even have tried to justify it amongst themselves by saying, okay, look, it's going to look terrible that we let her go. But perhaps they tried to say to themselves that if they actually indict her, that's going to be a blemish on the office of the Secretary of State or the high-level officials. But I think it's clear to anyone who's not on the far left extreme that what Hillary Clinton did was highly illegal, terribly wrong, that she is above the law. And
okay, so I'm just going to play devil's advocate here. Trump has not had his emails hacked and published, right? So he doesn't know what that. Now, granted, he's not Secretary of State, and he's not running his own servers and government and otherwise and classified information. I get all of that, but he doesn't have to defend himself over his maybe he doesn't have an email address. I don't know, but he hasn't had his stuff hacked. Do you think his tone would change if he was hacked and all of his stuff went public?
I mean, obviously, it's embarrassing for anyone. I mean, nobody would want that to happen. We all say things in private or in what we think is private that perhaps taken out of context or even put into isolation is going to look terrible. Okay. But we're not public officials. The reason we have the Federal Records Act is to prevent kinds of corruptions, which is what Hillary was purposely trying to get around by having the private server and then using BleachBit to permanently delete the files. So I think clearly there is a double standard there. And I don't think Trump actually has a computer. If you look at least some of his older photos or videos, there's not a computer on his desk. You know, some people are just so old school. He might be one of those guys that, you know, just tells his secretary, hey, okay, do this or contact this person or I need you to do this. And so, you know, sometimes the older you get, maybe you're set in your habits you don't want to change. And perhaps he thinks clicking on the keys, or maybe he just doesn't know how to type. And for those who never learn how to type, well, you know, many of us who can probably take it for granted. We learned it in school. But imagine being 70 years old when you didn't need to learn how to type. There was no typing classes in college or anything. Like, oh, I don't know, a computer, a secretary? Yeah, I don't know. It's not for me. You know, maybe the secretaries can type stuff up. So, you know, to teach an old dog new tricks, to teach someone how to type, perhaps he never even learned how to type.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a good point. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. Now, and I love a good conspiracy, and one of the things, and so do you. And one of the things that I've been most fascinated with is the far left supporters and the far right supporters have chosen to ignore the bad stuff, right? They don't want to, they don't even, if they bring anything up about their candidate of choice, it's just like, well, yeah, whatever, but she says this or she's done this or but he's done, you know what I mean? It's like blinders are now on and our standards have really dropped to a new low. It's like we're living, what was The Running Man, right? It's like we're in that movie.
You know, anybody's going to try to minimize the downside of their own candidates. Obviously, everybody's going to have a downside. You know, our family and friends have downsides, you know, taken in isolation, or if people just keep bringing it up. Oh, but he did this, but he said this, but remember that time that she did this? I mean, as long as it's not like a major deal breaker, most of us can kind of get past that. But when it comes to someone like, you know, Clinton, it's an institutional level corruption.
Right.
And so you could pick apart some of the negative things that Trump has done, some of the things that he has said, but a lot of them have been blown out of proportion. He's filed bankruptcy. Well, look, the guy owns 100 companies. I mean, you know, 3 of them going bankrupt, 4 of them going bankrupt. That's a 96% success rate, you know, and then they'll take it one step further. But he screwed those creditors. Well, okay, that's not his fault. I mean, that's the government's fault for allowing that to happen. Okay, and he would be really even more of a fool if he didn't take advantage of those laws. You know, because you can. It's not illegal. It's not shady. It's unfortunately the way that the system works. And to his shareholders and to his debtors, I mean, if he didn't take advantage of those bankruptcy laws, he wouldn't be fulfilling his fiduciary obligations to his companies. Now, you take someone like Hillary Clinton, whose lies have led to people being killed, who have led to countries being overthrown. I don't really see much of a comparison between the two. And in terms of, you know, these women that supposedly have been, you know, groped and touched by Trump, just to illustrate how many lunatics there are out there that just come up with crazy stuff or sort of take one little bit of information and extrapolate into a complete fabrication. When Prince, the singer, died, Guess how many people came forward since there was no will, and this was public. It's like, oh my God, big, celebrity gossip. He has no will. Who's going to get his, $50 million estate? Guess how many people contacted the executor of his estate claiming to be his kids or his long-lost brothers and sisters?
I'm going to say 500.
Oh, you know what? That's you're actually close. It was 700. Okay.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I mean, you
right,
would
right.
think, if you sit down and talk to a normal person, I mean, you really wouldn't think that anybody would do that, or maybe like 1-2 people would do it. No, not 2, not 20, not 200, 700 lunatics out there. So, to have these dozen women come forward and claim that he touched them and he tried to kiss them and all this stuff, I mean, it's not that shocking to hear that there's that many women out there who are, I believe, fabricating or wildly exaggerating. Perhaps he gave him a kiss on the cheek, which is customary. When people talk, when big celebrities come to talk shows, you'll see Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon give the women a kiss on the cheek. Or, that's kind of a customary thing in a lot of industries, and especially since Trump was in the modeling industry. So did he greet some of these women with a kiss on the cheek? Probably. Is that sexual assault? No. Is that forcing yourself on the one? No. I mean, it's incredible to see the amount of insanity. And I myself am the victim of conspiracy theories. I don't know if you've seen any of these, but there's a lot of people out there that think that I'm River Phoenix, that I was the actor from the 90s who died of a drug overdose at the whatever club
Viper
was.
Room. Yeah.
They say I faked my death and then came back, a decade or so later, and now that's how I can expose the Illuminati in Hollywood. It's like, it's not just one person.
You're not
probably hundreds and hundreds.
You're just not that good looking, Mark. You're a good looking guy. What the bigger picture here, now that we've laid all of this out on the table, what is the end game for the divide and conquer that they have done with the country? What is it that the Illuminati, the cabal, the New World Order, the puppet masters, what is it that they are setting us up for? Because they've got, it's like bowling, right? They've got us perfectly racked right now. The pins are set up. What's the end game?
I mean, it's almost become overplayed, overused, a cliche. It is out of 1984, where, if you recall, the people were afraid to criticize the government. They were afraid to really have an opinion about anything. They were just reduced to automaton, robotic people who would do their job and come home. They had no opinion about anything. They were constantly afraid that the children were going to rat them out or their neighbors were going to rat them out. And we're seeing that with this social justice warrior culture, where if the mob, the digital mob, can brand someone a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, Islamophobic, et cetera, for doing something that someone else has been doing without an issue, without a problem, for a long, long time. But if the internet mob picks a certain person for a specific reason on something that they said or something that they did or something that they wore, or a Halloween costume that was offensive, they can destroy your career. They have destroyed careers. We've seen this with Brandon Ike, the founder and CEO of Mozilla, the creator of the popular Firefox browser, who was bullied out of his job, not because he said, disparaging words about gay people. He didn't, use the F word or anything, or the second F word, I guess. He just was against gay marriage and gave his own money, not even the company's money, not even breaking any rules, even if it was the company's money. His own money, $1,000. He just donated it. He didn't want gay marriage to be passed in California, and they bullied him out of his job. So we're seeing people like, there was a celebrity who wore a Halloween costume with her boyfriend, Hillary Duff. She was her boyfriend was an Indian and she was a pilgrim. Thanksgiving is coming up. Hey, at Thanksgiving when I was a kid, you would dress up like pilgrims and Indians, and you were told a story about how they had dinner, and we know that's not exactly true what we were told, but they were bullied and had to apologize for their Halloween costume. Oh, I'm sorry, dressing up as an Indian now is offensive. So, I mean, the ultimate end game is to really just to get everybody so scared to get involved, scared to criticize the government. They just want people to do what they're told, just to go to work, watch the game, drink your beer, stay out of the way, listen to the government knows what's best. And it's getting close to that point. I mean, we're seeing a lot of people banned from social media. People's businesses are, virtually destroyed due to the sales ranking on Yelp and other things going down. People constantly flooding their phones with calls for a week at a time. They can't take any customers. If they, business owner says something or does something that, aggravates the mob, that's kind of, I mean, that's not the ultimate end game, but I mean, that'll set the stage so that they can do the end game where the system will just continue to fester without the ability to challenge it at all.
One of the concerns that I have with Trump, somebody just tweeted out, I think I'm listening to Savage Nation. Hardly. Okay, is Trump to become a multi-billionaire, not a billionaire, but, up the ladder a few $1 billion, right? There has to be, he's on a first name basis with everybody at the Fed and the Rothschilds. He's borrowing their money on a daily basis. Hillary's connections to the Bilderberg, she was a door girl there, right? She was a coat check girl. And we know this. This is fact. Well, I'm paraphrasing, but does Donald's connection to money cause you to just maybe step back and take a second look?
It would, if I wouldn't have seen how he was able to make that money. There was one particular building that he bought in an area that was extremely run down at the time, and I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's a legendary deal in the industry because you may recall back in the 70s, Times Square was just a porn theater area and sex shops and hookers and drugs, and now it's just a family-friendly place. So you can imagine over a 10, 15-year period of time what the value of real estate does in an area that gets revitalized. So he had one particular building that was just kind of a rundown area, and then over a period of time it became quite cleaned up, and he made an absolute killing off of that building.
Yeah, something like he bought it for $500,000 and now it's worth $500 million, right? Some nutty number like that.
And these things happen. It's the same thing as, a small secretary who's given a handful of stock in a tech startup company when she's making, $36,000 a year. And then all of a sudden, 5-10 years later, she's worth, $30 million.
Right.
Because the stock just goes through. So those kinds of things happen. Trump hasn't been, from what I've been able to find, he hasn't been to the Bilderberg group meetings. He hasn't been to the Bohemian Grove. If you just see the amount of energy that he has going at being almost 70 years old, I mean, certain people are just genetically built to have high energy and to not need a lot of sleep and not have a lot of rest. I mean, there's individuals out there who can run what are called ultra marathons, which is a marathon every single day for 30 days.
Yeah, it's insane, right?
And the world record is a marathon. I don't know it exactly, but it's over 2 years straight and this is real, folks, of an individual running a marathon every single day. Today, tomorrow, the next day, the next, for 2 years. So there's certain weird anomalies in people's bodies that they have a lot of. So I think if you just look at his energy, look at his mindset, someone like that, obviously he has been addicted to money and to the wealth, which I think there's a lot less things to be addicted to as long as it doesn't, lead to corruption. But, he hasn't really been involved in any criminal activity. I mean, he's been sued civilly for allegedly, discriminating against people back in the 70s, but I don't even know if that was really him. Could have been his management people. That, you get so disconnected from these things, but you got to pick your poison. And, I think the decision is between Trump, who could turn out to be a total disaster. The system might be so destroyed that nobody might be able to fix it. But at least I think that he's willing and able to try, versus a Hillary Clinton who is going to be the continuation of the clear, most willing servant of Bilderberg that we've had since Obama.
And why do you think it is? And I can hear it in your voice too. Okay, yeah, Trump, I get that. But these are not the two best choices that we could possibly have. how did you know what I mean? I mean, how did we get to this? If you want an anti-establishment guy, I would think that there was be somebody out there that would be able to unite the country instead of divide it. And it's the same thing on the far left too, as well. Is Hillary really the best that we have on that side of the fence? And clearly, we're failing on both sides. I don't think anybody is comfortable in the decisions that they're forced into making tomorrow.
You know, I think that for years there's been a wanting of some outsider, a non-politician, a businessman.
No question.
Trump fits that. You know, he's sort of been an insider on the other side of the fence, but he's not a typical slimy politician. Since I was a teenager, when I didn't really know much or anything about politics, I thought, hey, put a businessman in there. You know, these politicians are scum.
Right.
So I think that's his appeal. And since he had already been for decades a celebrity, and a lot of people will say, oh, he's just a reality host. I mean, he was a businessman. I mean, he's a real estate mogul, and before becoming a reality host, that's what he did. That's still what he does, right? So I think that's his appeal, and so that's why you have this billionaire who appeals to a lot of blue collar guys, because every time George Bush, John Kerry, two sides of the same coin, Mitt Romney, establishment insider, John McCain, all these choices that have been divvied up on the Republican end and the Democrats side have been establishment guys. And so I think because of his past name recognition, because of social media, really largely, I think that's fueled Trump's rise. And he is really symbolic. And of course, he said some horrible things. Some of his policies are absolutely ridiculous. You're not going to deport the illegal aliens, even if he might have wanted to. He might have thought it was a good idea. But just him saying that is sort of like, what your average blue collar would say at the bar. Like, we should deport these guys. But politically, it makes no sense. Politically, that's shooting yourself in the foot, And so, but I think a lot of people are willing to just write off a lot of that because they're just like, okay, look, even if he says these crazy things, even if he is, some of his policies are ridiculous, even if he will never even be able to do some of them or many of them.
And
at least let someone else in to try to clean to clean up this mess that these Republicans and Democrats have gotten us into over the last 50 years.
And then we have the obvious question from the left, which is the nuclear, the football question, the codes, and that is brought up time and time again that he's a little bit loose, right? Well, he's a lot loose with his mouth, and would that indicate a looseness of the fingers on the nuclear codes?
I don't think that he alone is going to be able to go in and press the codes. Obviously, Mike Pence, whoever his chief of staff is going to be, let's just say it's Reince Priebus, or let's say Katrina Pearson is his spokeswoman, right? If he wakes up one day and just starts talking about, I think I'm going to nuke them, they're going to physically tackle him and hold him to the ground, and they're going to have Milena, his wife, prevent him from leaving the bedroom if that's what he is going to do, if it's not the right thing to do. I don't think that he's able to just get up in the middle of the night and solely go and do the nuclear codes. Or you would have generals before, there's got to be some sort of a check and a balance system in there where I don't think that he's just in his pajamas is going to wake up and go and launch a nuclear attack. I think that if he was so far off the rails that he was going to try, I literally think that his wife, his kids, they would physically prevent him from doing it, and then they would tell the American people it would almost be like a coup within the Trump campaign to take the codes away, to push him out, to try to stop him. I don't see that being a real danger.
And I'm going to save the best for last. These calls on election rigging and voter fraud and so forth. Is this the media, or is this something that is a real concern?
It's a real concern. There was a documentary back in 2006 put out by HBO called Hacking Democracy, which you might be able to still watch on YouTube. And it demonstrated how just accessing the memory cards can cause the machines to be hacked. A hacker demonstrated it right there on the documentary. So I think the electronic voting machines, it's open to fraud. It's so complicated. I don't think anybody really knows how it works, and I don't think there's enough oversight. So it's a huge, huge danger. But because that's a vulnerability, which I believe a real one, doesn't mean we should just throw up our hands and do nothing, because let's just say they can only shave off a certain percentage in certain districts because of certain machines, right? So if we at least try to make it difficult, or we might be able to overcome what abilities they have. So I think it is a real threat, but I don't think that's the kind of threat that should cause people to just sit on their hands and do nothing. I think, if anything, it's a cause to look more closely, to call for more voter reform, to go back to paper ballots, to go back to paper and pen tallying, or I would say just get computers out of it almost entirely, and then have a system that is triple checked, and have different regions tallying the votes and conveying them and compiling them together. But it's definitely a serious danger.
Yeah, I I know this may sound strange, but I almost call that possibility a wash, because I think both sides are doing it. I'm serious too. I know I don't want to be cavalier about it, but
it might be. You might be right.
Yeah. I want to thank you, man. You're a very busy guy. I know you've got a lot of work that you're doing right now, and this is election night. So just let me say this: thank you in advance, and then let's keep the door open for maybe later on this week. I'll get you back on for another 15 minutes, and we'll talk about what actually happens tomorrow.
Fallout, yeah. And I apologize to you and the audience. I'm only operating at a percentage of my capacity. I got a little cold coming on, so my throat's a little sore. I'm quite exhausted, as you could probably tell. So it's been a pleasure, man. I hope everybody. I just think we should need to pray to God, and also I want to say to get involved and look up your local city's preferred voting guide. To see who, school board members and things like that. If you don't know, you're like, I don't know what this proposition is. Is this good? Is it bad? I don't know. Just, there's whatever political persuasion you are. Hopefully you're a conservative.
Yeah, well, tomorrow pot may be legal in California. that's
and I think a few other states as well.
Yeah, 5 states. But that's a crazy thing. And yeah, I do want to get you back on, because we didn't talk about the other races that are going on. And I think that to the detriment of both parties here, that all of this infighting and mudslinging that you referenced, which is obvious, that everybody else has kind of been forgotten, and there are other races going on, and the ultimate control of Washington, D.C. is completely up in the air, and these two did it to themselves.
It's history in the making, man. It's scary. It's exciting. It's going to be wild, and it's coming to hopefully the end. And we know in 2000 it took a month to figure out who would become the president. So hopefully we won't have a situation like that. But buckle your seatbelts, because I think whatever happens, it is going to be a wild ride. And obviously the losing team is not going to take it very well.
No, they're not.
So the backlash is going to be quite extensive too, I think.
Mark, thank you so much, my friend. All right, and be safe out there. And I'll give you a call in the next couple of days.
All right, bro. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. Mark Dice, everybody, at Mark Dice on Twitter, and of course his YouTube channel, Mark Dice, and Mark Dice on Facebook. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open lines are next. 323-825-5045. I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRAradio.com.
It's a
mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. Thank you, Mark Dice. At Mark Dice on Twitter. Facebook is Mark Dice. YouTube is Mark Dice. I'm opening up the phone lines right now. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. And I want to thank Mark Dice. And I'll tell you right now, this is a crazy time for this country. And the polarization of America is here, right? And one of the great things about this country is you can have your own opinion. You can say what you want. I can, you can, Mark can, and everything just needs to be out there. And that's it. That's it. And I got to thank Mark, man. He his videos are the best, and he's unfiltered, and we need more of that. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, Jimmy.
Yes.
This is I'm calling you because I'm concerned that we could wind up with another civil war, because there is a lot of anger in this election. And the fact that wars start because people lose faith and distrust their leaders. And at this point right now, I see so much division, it's frightening.
Yeah, what you are speaking about, Walt, and thank you for the phone call, but I'll say this, that's exactly what's going on. And I see it, you see it, we all feel it. I mean, it's just like this great divide. Now, I had said last week, Walt, and I don't know if you caught it, but I said last week that no matter what, and each election cycle when it goes to the presidency, things are going in pretty heated, man. They go in really heated, and then we come out on the other side and we figure out how to once again go through 4 years or 8 years. We got to get along. We still have a country to run. We're still Americans, and we let the system play out the way that it is. And I hope that this time around, with all the craziness that is going on right now, this nuttiness, this hatred, that we get past it on Tuesday. We go, okay, all right, the people have spoken. We've got somebody in office. We need to support whoever that is. and we need to move forward. We don't need the big divide. I feel the same pressures that you're referring to. Let's just hope that we can all be Americans and get through this somehow and come out on the other side and figure out how we're going to get through the next 4 years.
Yeah, we really need to do something to calm things down, because I remember reading my history book about the first Civil War and how people actually thought that it would be just a quick, go around and they shoot each other and then go home and make love, and that's not what happened.
Well, what do you think? What do you think we should do?
Well, right now, prayer wouldn't hurt, but other than prayer, I think we need to. Oh man, God, I wish I could tell you, Jim. I have a funny feeling that there's nothing you can do. It's like we're on a fast track to deal with China, with what they're doing. We lost respect worldwide. We're involved in so many other countries in conflicts, and now we're making Putin angry, which he's getting ready for war. And I'm thinking to myself, don't American people realize how dangerous the situation really is?
Yes, and then we have this other thing going on that I think is really apparent now, like never before in our history, which is this. We are frustrated with Washington, and we've let this go on as far as we can, and now we're at the point where we're demanding change. And that's what that ultimately is, what that change is, I don't know, but I think that we are, you remember when your mom used to say when you were a kid, I'm sick and tired, right? Your mom would go, I'm sick and tired. And well, I think that's kind of where we're at. We're just sick and tired. That's it. And it is coming to a boil.
Yeah, Jim, I can appreciate the need for change, because right now I believe 8 years of Obama has caused a lot of problems financially. And I know Trump has a lot of insight into how to make money. Whether he would be able to pull it off, I don't know. I think he's pretty slick. Hillary, it wouldn't be any change at all other than the pan to the fire, because she wants to bring in more people that don't like us. They want to see us die. I don't know. I can't comprehend that. If you have a group of people that hate you, why would you want to invite them in your house?
Well, and let me ask you this, Walt. Again, thank you for the phone call. Very, very insightful. Do you pay attention to the polls?
I do.
And what do you think? Do you think that the polls are honest?
Well, right now, because of what the director for the FBI has done over the weekend, I think he just tilted the scales in Hillary's favor dramatically. And I think the polls are probably pretty accurate, because we have an electoral college system that is kind of like favors one party over another. So I think the polls are probably right. But if the people are angry enough, they can force the hand of the electoral college people, even though they're committed, they may have to give like a willow tree rather than an oak.
Yeah, interesting. Hey, Walt, thank you for the phone call, and excellent phone call, and thank you for all of your points.
Hey, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you. Very, very interesting phone call. What's up, Dino?
Hey, it's nice to hear from Walt. I wasn't going to call in tonight because this is just my opinion. Anything that I say politically on your show is just going to piss off some of the Fader-nuts, and I don't want to do that, because I think most of us are a pretty interesting family with a lot of diversity. And so the reason I called in, though, even though I don't want to get political, is because I was thinking about why I love your show so much and why I was an early, adapter to it. And that is because the politics, forget politics, throw them out, but just the condition of our planet right now begs for some change in a more positive direction. And that change might be an extraterrestrial one. I mean, those of us who listen to the program know that there probably are different races with different agendas, but it just seems to me like this is all, things to distract us, so to speak. I really, people predicting this, predicting that. If the truth is really what we know to be, what Richard Dolan tells us, and what Stanton Friedman tells us, and what Edgar Mitchell tried to tell us, then there's more going on here, and we're not going to blow up the world. There are other influences, other agendas going on, and that's what I'm hoping for. That's really what's going to be going on. That there's going to be something that is revealed or something new, and the average person will just forget about all the politics. Oh no, I don't like her. No, they don't care. And I'm just concerned that, like John Lennon was one of many to tell us, if you keep a person doped with religion and sex and TV, they'll think they're clever and classless and free. But we're all going to be peasants as far as I can see. That's kind of just what I'm thinking. So I'm hoping that something from off-planet or on-planet that gives us a different perspective. I don't even like talking about politics, because when I talk about Steve Bassett and disclosure and how I support that, people argue about that. But you know what? Even if some faction of the government admitted one thing about that is true, it would make those of us who are seeking the truth seem less like a whack job to people, and maybe we could get some change in spite of people thinking that this is fringe. And that's all I have to say tonight.
All right. Well, let me comment. And this is what's nuts. And I said this a year ago going into the election, and I have held my ground all year, that I said this a year ago, and the words are more true today than when I spoke them a year ago. And that is this. This is the strangest election ever. There is something forcing us into this situation. And I said a year ago that it's going to play out in the craziest fashion, which it's going to play out with Hillary and Donald. That's how this is. And as crazy as that sounded, and you remember when I said that a year ago, and that sounded nuts. And I played out. Do you remember my used car salesman? You remember that whole thing that rant that I did? And as crazy as that rant was, right? As stupid as it was, it played out exactly that way, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
It did. Now, why? That's where the conspiracy side comes into play. Why would this be played out on us? Who is running this show? Why is it like it is today? What is going on? And I said all through this last year, and I want everybody to understand that I was just being honest, that all of this stuff playing out with the media, and I'm talking about racism and terrorism and walls being built and immigrants and wars and everything that was playing out in front of us was being done intentionally. Because I didn't believe any of it. I didn't believe any of the cop, it was just crazy. But it was played out on the mental emotions of us. And here we are a year later with, if I read one more comment or one more email, one more post that says, I've lost friends, I've lost family, I've been unfriended, I've been blocked, I can't, this, I can't mention that, I can't talk, I can't, it's black, it's white, it's racist, Muslim, it's this, it's Hillary, it's Clinton, and now I can't think, and Hillary is this, and Trump is that, and our local government and the police, and it's boiled into this insanity, and it's played out perfectly. The game has been played. And I called it, and it's something that I'm not proud of. I don't want to sit back and ever say, I told you so. That's not my point. What I want to stress with everybody is everything that we talk about on this show, conspiracies and UFOs and disclosures and ghosts and lost history in Egypt, and we wonder about the big picture, and we wonder about our past, and we wonder about the future, and who is influencing this, and then this kind of crap plays out in front of us. That's when I step back and go, there is something going on here. There is something going on. I don't know what it is. I need to stress, I don't know. I don't know. Is it big banks? Is it the Feds? Is it the Rothschilds? Is it the Illuminati? Is it the Cabal? Is it the Bilderbergs? Or is it something off planet? Is there something else that's influencing us? Is there somebody that is observing? Right now, that seems as logical as anything.
Yeah. And I just have two more things to say, which is basically whoever gets elected tomorrow is going to be a one term. That's my prediction. And the second thing I got to say is, in America, we've got to cut down the length of this political process. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be more than 6 months. No one should be allowed to announce they're going to run. No one should be able to raise money.
Right.
Because it just makes people sick on purpose, and then they don't vote.
Yeah, well, obviously, right? And that makes just too much sense, so that'll never happen. But, absolutely right. 3 months. 3 months. And one of the things that me as an American that I've always wondered about since I was a little kid is if a president is going to run for a second term and he's out there, and I'm talking about the president, but it goes to any politician, and he's going to go out there and campaign for a year, who the bleep is running the country, right? How can you take out your busy schedule where you're sleeping 4 hours a night, running the country for another 20 hours, you're awake, and now you have the time to, and you complain about that and you got your gray hair, but suddenly you have enough time to go and campaign for a year and spend money? No, it's just not right. And it's the same thing with a senator or a congressman or congresswoman that has a real job, that is supposed to be voting and running the country, looking at bills and the environment and economics and jobs and everything else that goes into play to running this country. But now you're going to have time to go and campaign, and the stress of a campaign for a year. No,
exactly. That's what I've
it's
always
wrong.
said. It's multitasking, and multitasking is doing several things badly instead of full attention on one item at a time.
That's right. So, 3 months, a month, 30 days out. Okay, this is what's going on. My, what a different country this would be. I don't need to know. I had read today that Obama was flying to 3 states in a day, or 7 campaign stops, or whatever. I forget what the number is. But you know what? It was way too much. Man.
Oh, and if you get stuck in traffic, if you're in one of these major cities, they shut down the freeways. You're trying to get home from work, and they got a damn, a parade going by you with 50 police officers who should be out enforcing the laws.
Yeah. Hey, Dino, thank you so much.
Okay, before we go, I've just got one political thing I am going to say. Whatever state you're in, vote to legalize pot, because I don't even smoke it anymore, but it's a way to oppress people, and it's ridiculous that people are going to jail for smoking marijuana.
You're smoking weed right now. I'll talk to you,
No,
Dino.
I'm wearing my hemp pants, however.
Okay. Have a good night, Dino.
Right,
Go
good
vote
night.
tomorrow. All right, man. Hey, Gene, what's up, brother?
Yo, how you doing, boss?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good. I'm on pins and needles. I'll admit it. This is a crazy, crazy night on the eve of what could possibly be, and this isn't the media. This is me speaking. This could be the most important election in our nation's history.
Well, I'm seriously bullshit fatigued, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
And I wonder why Election Day has to be on a Tuesday. Some people have to work, and that makes it where you can't vote. So I believe Election Day should be on from a Saturday morning to a Sunday morning, 24 hours.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
What's with the Tuesday thing? I don't get it,
Well, I often wondered, why would you want to go to a nightclub at 10 o'clock at night when you're tired and you got to work the next day? I think all nightclubs should open up at noon.
Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, that's part of the rigging of the whole thing. It's all rigged. It's been rigged for 240 years, and it's never going to change. And what we have to do as a people is to let go of it, turn our backs on them, and do something different, make something new, evolve to the next level beyond politics. I'm sure the aliens ain't sitting out there in their faraway galaxy worrying about Trump and Clinton and who's going to be the president of that galaxy. They got some kind of a council that looks out for the well-being and the betterment of their race.
Yeah, and I can tell you, if you look at it like that, and I tend to agree with you, but if you look at it like that, the ETs out there are 10,000 years, 1,000,000 years more advanced than us, and they're saying to themselves, well, that's what we went through 1,000,000 years ago. We got to let them work through this issue. If it gets crazy, we'll step in. But until then, they got to figure out stuff for themselves.
I guess. I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. They must have a thing like on Star Trek, a non-intervention thing, where they can't screw with us and just let us shoot ourselves in the foot until we get it right.
Well, look, when you learned how to ride a bike, you fell down a few times.
Right.
Right? I mean, that's just the way it is. And then eventually you don't fall down anymore. And then suddenly you never fall down on the bike, right? You couldn't crash if you wanted. Well, you could. I was thinking the other day, Rita and I were in bed and we're listening to, a documentary or something. We're doing something, but I'm like drifting off, Gene. And for some reason, I went through this memory of when me and my friends in the neighborhood would build ramps out in front of the house and jump bikes on these ramps, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so I figured out on my 10-speed, which wasn't my 10-speed, it was my dad's 10-speed. And it was one of those Schwinn 10-speeds with the, the bent handlebars 10-speed.
Right.
But I figured out that because my friends with the BMX bikes, they could only go so fast and jump so far. But I could get this 10-speed going, and I would hit that ramp, and I would be 3 times as far as, I would go, man, 25 feet there. Well, after doing that for about a week, the front tire and the back tire on this 10-speed started to bend, right?
Right, yeah, the wheels couldn't take it.
Right, and it was my dad's bike. But I kept doing it. And I would straighten out the rims, and I would get them straight back out. And after about a week, then suddenly I did one more jump, right? And that's it. The rims just turned into ribbon, right? They wouldn't pass through the brakes any. I mean, it was just completely screwed up.
Right.
And but what's taking me back to that memory is you learn from that. All right, and you just learn. My dad didn't come out. He knew that I screwed up his 10-speed. He didn't come out and tell me what I was doing wrong and that the bike wouldn't take that. It was beyond my comprehension, my intelligence. I wouldn't have listened. Right? You have to go through the process.
Right.
And my process
is a great teacher.
Yep. And my process was I had to work for my dad for a couple of months, washing cars, cutting the grass, to buy him new rims. And I never jumped the 10-speed on the ramp ever again. Right?
Yeah.
Do you follow what I'm saying here?
Yes, I do. And that's a very good analogy of the current situation for humanity, in fact.
So, do you have any predictions for tomorrow? Not what you are going to do. That's your secret. That's your private thing. But do you have any predictions on how this is going to play out tomorrow?
I really can't say. I have my suspicions that Mrs. Clinton is going to win. I think it's in the cards. I think the rigging has been set, for quite some time. And Trump, come on. Does he really deserve it? He's a narcissistic blowhard, and a possible misogynist abuser of women and all that. He really has a deck stacked against him. And I believe the political system and the Washington cartel would like to see Mrs. Clinton in there, and all well and good for them, because I'm against Washington cartel completely and totally.
So I guess you're saying what I've been saying all along. It's a paradox. We're damned if we do, damned if we don't. Either way we go. You know, I mean, I have no idea, man. I have never been so confused in my life. I really don't know. I don't know.
It's a turning point in our nation's history, but which way are we going to turn? Are we going to turn right? Are we going to turn left? Or are we going to do a freaking U-turn? You know?
Yeah, or are we, as an American public, this great, fantastic, wonderfully beautiful country of ours, on Wednesday, are we going to all look around at each other with all those guys that we fought with and everybody that we unfriended on Facebook and everybody that we're blocking and stopped talking to? Are we going to nut it up and go, okay, all right, well, that's behind us. Now we can talk. Okay, let's be friends again. Is it going to play out like that?
I absolutely hope that it does. I don't know if we're capable of it as a nation, because we become so divided. And the reason we become so divided is because we fed into the bullshit that they're feeding us.
Well, and we become so divided because we also love this country, right? And that's the other thing. That's why when I get emails from people or posts or tweets or texts, saying we need Trump because blah, 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 right? And then I get the other emails that say we need Clinton because of blah, blah, blah. And it is so polarized. And I get that. But both sides are so crazy, foaming at the mouth because they love this country. That's the thing, so I respect both sides. I really do. I mean, I cannot, when somebody goes, okay, man, Trump didn't pay his taxes. He's a misogynist. He's a racist. He makes fun of people with disabilities. He doesn't like old people, doesn't like young people. He only, Muslim, this, that, import, build a wall. And okay, I hear all of that. I do, right? And it makes sense. How could you possibly, as a parent, if you have a daughter, how could you possibly even consider Donald Trump? That's it, right? The discussion ends right there. But on the other side, Clinton, and I went through, I spent, we're going to head towards a break here, Gene. I want to thank you if I cut you off for the phone call.
Problem.
But last month, I listed all 50 dead people that were directly connected to Clinton, right? And it's just like the craziest thing. That is way beyond odds. That's way beyond coincidence. So that right there, the corruption and the things that are on the Clinton side of the fence, how could you possibly vote for this woman? But we don't have a choice. One of these two are going to make it to the Oval Office, and we have to vote for one or the other. Then there's Jill Stein and the other guy. What's his name? Exactly. That's my point. Let me
just say one thing in closing.
You got 15 seconds.
I want to wish all the Fader Dots a happy election day. And remember, we have bacon and we have coffee. And if you never got that pony, get you some River Moon Fade to Black blend. It's the best thing ever.
Man, did you get yours?
Boom.
Man.
I got it coming. It's on the way.
Man, that is okay. Well, you call me after you get that. Thank you so much, Gene. Behave and be well.
All right. God bless everybody.
There you go. Gene Vito, the voice. Yeah, man, it's a crazy day tomorrow. 323-825-5045. I want to hear from you.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Tomorrow's the day. I want to thank Mark Dice for coming in. Great conversation. Cool guy. Our country is polarized. I want to hear from you. 323-825-5045. Hey, is there a conspiracy behind this election? I see all the phone calls coming in. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to everybody. There's that. And also, what do you think the next 4 years are going to be like? Do you think that somebody has been influencing this election for you? Do you think it has been the media? Do you think it's money? Do you think it's big banks? There's all kinds of things in play here. I do want to hear from you. Nicole just tweeted out, Jimmy, what do you think about Kerry heading to Antarctica during the election? I found that strange. I found that really, really weird. Very strange. Also, to that end, the Russians found a Nazi camp in Antarctica. Posted a bunch of pictures of it. It was a weather station. It was on an island from 1941 to 1943, I think were the years. Very strange, very cool. No hidden underground anything, but yes, it was there. And I actually have something on that, and maybe I will get that going tomorrow night. With that, let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Well, hello.
Hi, hello. Who's calling?
This is Joe, man. I haven't talked to you in a long, long time.
Hi,
How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing good, Joe. How are you?
Oh, pretty good. I called you last time I talked to you was about a year ago, but I got some insight or something I want to a concept I want to throw by you on this election stuff.
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. if you notice, all the dead bodies and all that stuff that you were just talking about, and all the stuff that's gone on with Hillary. And I had a friend who was on the plane with Ron Brown, so I'm fairly, I have my own closeness to it. But here's the thing, and I'll let the Good Witch express what she thinks about this, and Nurse Nancy and all those people. Are you ready? Here it goes. I think that the upper echelon in power in the United States is basically clued into the spiritual power, basically, and they're using the dark side. And I think some of that's come out in the WikiLeaks, what's going on there. And I think that because they keep us dumbed down, and so we don't have the knowledge of those powers. That's the way they keep us sort of in this, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a trance almost. But a lot of us are becoming awake, and a lot of us are learning, how to deal with that. And I think that's what we need to learn is they are using this power, and that's how they're kind of able to do all these weird things and all that. And meanwhile they're telling you, hey, there ain't no God. Hey, there ain't this, there ain't that. So that's the way I kind of see it. And I think that's what when Trump, he's running, he's not part of that. And I think that's why everybody's so viscerally against him. By the way, I do have a prediction for you. And maybe I'll be right, maybe I'll be wrong, but here you go, Jimmy. Trump wins in a landslide.
Wow. Well, I'm going to comment on your second part first, and then I'm going to go back to the first part second. But this is what's really trippy to me. If you don't trust the polls, which I don't like the way that polling is done, right?
Yeah.
And closing it, they're basing everything on 1,000 or 2,000 potential voters, right? And each poll is the same thing. It's not a poll of 1 million people. Right. If it was 1 million people, then you can kind of extrapolate some real information, but it's not. So if you take the polls out of it, I mean, just what if the indication of Trump's rallies and the amount of people that are showing up is an indication of what's a possibility tomorrow, then it could be a landslide. But this is so I would not be surprised if that happened. But let me tell you why I don't think it will happen. We just have to go with the amount of Democratic registered voters versus Republicans. There's more Democrat than Republican. Just right there, out of the gate. That is a problem if you're Donald Trump. Always, it's going to be a problem. The second part of that I trip on is this, and I'll give you my example first, and then the second half. Hockey. What, Jimmy? What did you just say? Hockey. Okay.
Hockey.
Okay. Yeah. Here in Los Angeles, we have a team called the Kings. Okay. The Kings sell out every game. Can't get tickets. Okay. Now, if you watched one of the Kings hockey games and they broadcasted that out, you would think that is Los Angeles, that we are the most rabid hockey city in the world.
True. Yeah.
And we are not. Okay?
Yeah, I know that.
Now, if we had, so there's 20,000 sold out fans at every Staples Center Kings game, right? Now, but if we had a 25,000 seat arena, there would be 5,000 empty seats. It's not, do you understand what I'm saying here?
Yes, I do. I get it.
So when it comes,
you could be right.
Right. So when it comes to Trump, are all of his fans showing up at the rallies and there's nothing else, right? Do you see what I'm saying? They're so rabid. Then their boy is in town, and that's what we see. Now, is that an indication of what's going on across the state or across, or is it just those fans that are there? I don't know. Like the Kings, I don't really know. So now back to your first. So could it be a landslide? If you're looking at these rallies, it certainly looks like that's a possibility, right? Now back to your first part. I think there has always been an influence of magic and astrology and astronomy in the White House and in government in general. And I think it goes back to George Washington and Ben Franklin, where they believed in the arts and the black magic and white magic and so forth. So, and I think that goes right up to today. And we know that Hillary definitely has some crazy ideas out there. And also a belief in the alien agenda, or that ET has been visiting this planet. So we know that too as well. So could there be something else going on that's influencing her from above? The Rothschilds, right? The Illuminati, the Bilderberg, the craziness out there. I fully believe that is the case. So
do I.
So is that part of what's going on with this mass hysteria in the country, and the darkness that is surrounding the world right now? Could be.
Yes, it is.
You know,
is.
and
I believe it is.
When I started talking about this kind of stuff about a year ago, and I let everybody knows that hard and fast, I keep politics out of this show. I do, because it was just not what I'm about. But I am about the conspiracy of politics, and there's a big difference, right? There's a huge difference. And when I say that, okay, I'm going to be very clear here, Joe, on 2 points.
Okay.
I'm going to be very clear for this audience. When I say that whoever gets elected, they're going to go into the White House, they're going to go into the Oval Office, they're going to be straightening out their pens and their blotter and straightening out the desk, and the phone rings. They're going to pick it up, and they're going to find out who the real boss is, and the boss ain't them. And they're going to find that out. But let me tell you the difference here. Hillary knows that phone call is going to come in. Donald Trump doesn't. Okay? That is what I want to be perfectly clear. Hillary knows. She knows who's running the world. She's been in this for a long time. She knows what's going on. Trump does not. Okay? And that phone call to Donald Trump, do you remember when he went to Mexico and met with the Mexican president?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And when he was talking all that smack, I'm going to go down there and straighten him out, man. I'm going to tell him he's going to pay for his wall, right? And when he stepped up to that microphone after his meeting with the Mexican president, he was the most humbled, soft-spoken guy.
Yeah.
You remember that? And then when he came back to the States, we're going to build that wall. It's like, dude, either you are that guy that's going to stand up to who you say you're going to stand up to, and in this case, it's the Mexican president, the Mexican people, and the country of Mexico. You talked all that smack. You go down there, and it's like you disappeared, right? Yeah. Well, that's the same humbling that's going to happen to Trump when he gets into the Oval Office, if he does, because that phone call's going to ring, and he's going to get his pee-pee whacked. It's going to be gnarly, and he's going to walk out of there a changed man. So, there you go. So that's my take, Joe. Let me get to some of these other calls.
Okay. Well, one more thing real quick. I just want to say thank you for taking my call, sir.
Sure.
And it's a pleasure to be back, and I sure enjoy your show.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, Joe. All right, turn me down in the background. Turn me down. You're live. You're live on the air.
Jimmy?
Yes.
This is Timothy King, also known as Boba Fett.
Oh, hi. Oh, well, hey, man, what's up?
Hey, dude, I hear a lot of people talking about this election, and I believe that to protest the election is not to vote, because if you vote, you're actually consenting for this remaining government to be in power.
Right.
All of them are corrupt. Every single one of them. There's no way they can be in power on any level of government to be in power. So check this out. Nobody votes. Say, hey, look, we're not consenting. We're not going to consent to this anymore, because if you vote, you say, okay, you can be in power.
What about doing a write-in vote for Eddie Van Halen? That would be cool.
Well, yeah, but the point is to get people we know are qualified in our community to stand up and say, hey, we can help run this country in a positive manner with no corporate, laws whatsoever. It's
right,
the law
right.
of the land. And you know what the law of the land is? Most people don't know this. I ask people, do you know what the law of the land is? And it's very simple. It's actually one sentence. Do you know it?
I do. Are you busting my chops and you want me to quote it?
No. Well,
okay.
It is do no intentional harm to others, their property, or to the environment.
Right.
If you're not doing that, how could you possibly be doing wrong?
And see, this is the thing. And you brought up the corporate side of things. Bobo, this is very, very important. In the last 30 years, I'm going to go 30. I can't quite go into the 60s on this. I can't go that far back. I can't go back 50 years. But certainly in the latter half of the 70s and through the 80s, the lobbyist became an art form. Okay? And that was the dumbing down of Washington, where we allowed corporate interests to dictate what is going on in Washington. And if we go back one step, you go off of the hill, you go into the lobbyists, then you go to the corporations, and behind that are banks and shareholders. That is what is deciding what happens in this country. It is no longer us. It is shareholders, corporations, money, and lobbyists, and that is what is corrupting the politicians. And we all know this. Everybody knows this. The corporations know it. The president knows it. Congress. Everybody knows that is the case. But yet nobody will do anything about it. And that is the part to me that is totally perplexing. We get rid of that. We get rid of, we bring in term limits. Suddenly this country is a righted ship once again.
I agree. We take the money out of politics and return this to a republic and take it out of the corporate standard.
Yes. But look, you know this. I know this. Your mom knows this. Everybody knows this. But yet nobody does anything about it. That's the question. Why can't we do anything about it?
Well, that's my point about not participating in this fraudulent election. I even found out that the United States Constitution says that the electoral vote can override the people's vote.
That's right.
So in essence, our vote really doesn't count.
That's right.
It's just amazing. So don't vote. Show them that we're not participating in this anymore. We don't agree. We don't consent to your power, all that you're doing against us. And oh my God, the list is long. What they're doing against us is wrong. There's no doubt.
Yeah, and to that end, when somebody like yourself, Bobo, you've got the best of intentions, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so you run for your local city council, you get elected, right? And you're for the people, we the people, for us, for your family, this and that, and you want to go in and make changes. And then suddenly, you get reelected, you go up, and maybe you get elected to Congress. And then you find yourself in Washington, D.C., and you realize something happens along the way. And I'm not discussing your moral character. I'm saying somebody that goes into politics with the best of intentions, right? Exactly. And then they get to Washington and they find out that that's not how the game is played. And that little taste of power corrupts. And suddenly you have everybody coming at you with this influence to dictate what is going on back with your constituents. And you stop talking to your constituents and you've lost track. And then you get reelected. And then you get so far removed from reality and you find out that it's really lobby money that's running Washington, that now you are not the person that you set out to be, because you can't be that person. That Washington does not work that way.
Look, dude, that is the systemic problem. Period. You got it nailed on the head. It is the corruption. And the point is, voting is not going to solve the problems. You cannot fix the problems with the very people who created it in the first place.
That's right. So we're stuck, right? Are we just completely stuck? Look, I understand the idea the germ of the idea. You know what? Let's just stop voting. You know, what I think needs to happen is we need to somehow remove lobbyists from the picture and term limits. That's it, man. That's it. You want to be a senator? You want to go out there and change the world? You got one crack at it. If you really want to speak for the people, you got one crack. Get in there, 4 years, and done. Right? And it's the same thing with anything else. Governor. Right?
I 100% agree, but we need to replace those incumbents that are currently in power. They have obviously proven they're distrustworthy to the American people.
Yeah, well, you said the magic word there. No incumbents. That's it.
There you go.
That's it. That's it. You got one crack at it, man. One crack at it. And if you're in office right now, it's your last term. That's it. You know, and we all know that this would fix so many things. Man, I should run for president. Man.
All right, Jimmy. Thanks a lot, guy. I appreciate talking to you.
All right, Bobo.
Don't jump on the line, man. Have a good one.
All right, don't be a stranger.
All right, man. Later.
That's what I'm talking about. Thank you so much, Bobo. You know, doesn't that make sense? Right? If you're an incumbent right now, if you're in office, you're not getting reelected. That's it. The system has changed today. We're voting in all fresh stuff. That's it. You got one crack. Get in there and straighten things out. I mean, if you think about that, oh, man, would that right the ship? Would that right the ship right now? Would that change things? Think about who would run for office then. And then after you're done, you go back to your life. You go back to your family. You go back to your job. And, it's think about that. Wow. Wow, life would change. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Mr. Jimmy Church?
Are you back?
I'm back home, brother.
How was the
Lost
trip?
luggage, but I'm back home.
Okay. Always check. I never check your baggage, man. Take it with you. Put it above your head.
Yeah, well, make sure you always get the receipt when you check your luggage.
Man. That sucks. Okay, well, anyway, have they found it? Is it on its way back to you?
Oh, yeah, they found it, and they delivered it back to me this morning.
Yeah, I lost my luggage once. And it was one of those things, man. I get back out from a trip. I'm literally waiting, and it doesn't come out. I was like, you got to be kidding me. 2 weeks later, my luggage shows up at the office. And I was out on another business trip, right? And they call me, hey, your luggage got delivered here today. 2 weeks. Well, you know what? After that, that's it. I took my luggage with me on the plane every single time. Rita and I have done all these trips this past year, right? And we've got all the stuff we're taking with the gear and stuff. And we have to check. One bag always gets checked, right?
You're going to have to check something. I mean, that's so much stuff.
Man, it just makes me nervous. I don't like checking. I don't like checking anything. So anyway, you're back. What do you think? What do you think, Steve? Tomorrow's the big day. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, first of all, I hate that Dino don't want to speak his mind for feeling like he's going to offend some Fader knots or offend anyone else. I think that you should, if you're going to vote and whoever you're going to vote for, I'm going to vote for Trump tomorrow. I mean, that's just me. I want to see someone else other than a politician have a crack at it. And yet, there are countless things that I despise about Donald Trump. But there's also countless things I despise about Hillary Clinton and the entire Clinton family. But I just want to see a different batter in the batter's box. Regardless of the outcome, just let me see a different batter in the batter's box.
Do you think there's a chance?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like you were talking about these rallies, when Trump has a rally, if he's having an arena that seats 35,000, there's 35,000 in the arena, he packs it out. But there's also 5,000 standing outside trying to get in.
Right.
If Hillary has a rally and she's at an arena that holds 20,000 and 15,000 show up and there's nobody outside trying to get in.
Now, Trump. If Trump loses, are you going to support Hillary for the next 4 years?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Whoever wins, regardless, whether I voted for them or not, I'm an American, and I feel that you need to support whoever, even though I believe that there is corruption to the election process. That's the hand you've been dealt. Until the people unite and convince, I guess, our government that we have to have a different system or a different way of governing the mass, then this is the hand that we're dealt. This is what we're playing with. This is the game.
What do you think about the 1 year, beat down that this country has taken from the media and this election and the mudslinging?
Well, we're a joke. We're a joke to the rest of the world. I mean, we are truly a joke and just a laughing matter to the rest of the world. We're supposed to be a country, of democracy and a country that leads, and we're the last superpower supposedly. You would think that we would have a little bit more etiquette about that process, and what that position means as an American, and what that position means to the rest of the world, because whether you are or not, you're portrayed as the most powerful man on the planet. Even though we all know they're not, mainstream media portrays the president, as the most powerful man of the United States on Earth.
Right. Yeah,
we should have a little bit more, I guess, respect or a little bit more etiquette in which, the process is done, and, it's confusing. It's just, it's just a bad deal. It's just
it is
all around bad deal.
It is what the media's choice, and the one thing that Dice had said that I have to, and all of us have to agree with, is that the media has definitely, Trump has set himself up for this too as well, but the media has been completely one-sided. I mean, you just watch it, and if you're a supporter of the Clintons, then you enjoy it, right? You just want to see Trump being brought down. And if you're a Trump supporter and you're watching this, you're like, man, how much can we take? Right? It is so funny for me, who I keep saying this. I don't have a dog in this race. I really don't. I'm just going to support whoever gets elected. I'm upset with both sides. So that's my position. But as I sit back and watch how this has been played out, it's a rather obvious thing. The only thing that Trump is out there with in his corner is Fox, right? And even that has been slipping.
Yeah,
so it's been fascinating. Hey, Steve, I got to head to a break right here, my brother. As always, thank you so much, and we'll see you tomorrow night on the show, and we'll see how this thing starts to play out.
Jimmy, as always, brother. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much, Steve. Steve laying it out there, man. He's voting Trump. And there you go. And look, all of you Fader Knots, don't get upset with another Fader Knot. Just don't do it. Don't. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. More of your calls next.
And you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fader Knots? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
All right, welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I want to thank Mark Dice for coming in tonight. I do want to hear from you. Lines are open, 323-825-5045. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to you in just a second, but check this out. Canadian waters have now yielded their second strange case of the week. The CBC reports that the Royal Canadian Navy is on its way to investigate a possible lost nuke, believed to have been dumped off the coast of British Columbia before an American B-36 bomber crashed in 1950. Diver Sean Smyrinsky tells the Vancouver Sun that he was searching for sea cucumbers recently when he spotted a bizarre object underwater that resembled a giant metal bagel cut in half with bolts molded into it. He says he told his buddies that he might have spotted a UFO, and then he told some other fishermen about the sighting a few days later. Some old-timer says, "Oh, you might have found that bomb." The bomb the old-timer that was referring to was a Mark IV bomb missing since the February 13th, 1950 crash in the area of the U.S. bomber, which had left a base in Alaska on a Texas-bound mission that included a simulated nuclear bombing of San Francisco. The bomb was packed with TNT, weighed almost 11,000 pounds, though records indicate that the core was packed with lead and not plutonium. Well, they're going to go and find out and check it out. But pretty crazy, because last week, the beeping, right? The underwater beeping that they're investigating now, and those tones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hello?
Yes, you're live right now.
Oh, thank goodness gracious. Hi, I've been trying to get a hold of you forever. I know that actually I'm a first-time caller, and I do know that you're trying to stay away from the whole politics experience that we have going on right now. But I felt the need to call in because as a person of color, I have to say that what I hear from other people that have called in is that the vitriol and the hatred that has been spiked up in this country against not just African Americans, but all people of color is frightening. And it's kind of hard to listen to people say, I'm going to vote for Trump because he has a different idea or this or that, when it seems to me, just historically speaking, the rhetoric that he's advocating or using is the same that has been used against, I'm just going to say, the other people who are other than the dominant culture.
Right.
So that's what I want to say, and I'm just hoping that people will open their eyes a little bit and listen a little deeper to what has been said, and what people's actions are, because actions do speak louder than words. So that's all I want to say.
Well, let me ask you this, because I hear you loud and clear, right? I've been saying the same thing. But why do you think that so many out there apparently are deaf or blind to exactly what you're saying, and they want to look past all of that because he's not a politician and he's not rank and file Washington, and so therefore all of this negative stuff about Trump does not matter. He is not Hillary, right? And that's exactly what they say. And when you hear that, what goes through your mind?
Well, by the way, this is Wanda. I'm the person that wrote the question to the other day to your psychic that was on. Okay. I'm the person that's in the doctorate program.
Oh, hey, Wanda, how are you?
Fine, thank you. And I've been doing a lot of research on exactly this issue. And when you think about it, the whole idea about race and religion, et cetera, are actually artificial constructs meant to divide us as people, because we are all one people. But I would say one of the reasons why, as you said, people look beyond the hateful rhetoric is that it's not geared towards them, because they're a member of the dominant culture.
Right.
And so they don't see his word as being meaningful to them, whoever they are. And it's not. I don't think it's that they're not aware. It's just that their reality is different than, say, mine. There are many days when, you hear we hear things on the news about how, people of color are attacked, or for no reason other than, I'm just going to say it, walking while black, breathing while black. There is no while. I just am, because I am black. And as a result, I'm horrified sometimes just to even walk out of my house, because I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Because as a person of color, there's no way that I can take my skin off.
Well, you're a person of color also, and you're female, right? So
that is absolutely correct.
Right.
Yeah. So there's no way that I can change any of that.
Right,
so
right.
the negative things that we've been seeing against people of color in general, whether they're the first people that were here, African Americans, everybody, or the other, whoever the other is, whether they're disabled or transgender or whatever, it's because it's a hard thing for people to say, oh, I can identify because I know what it's like to be. They don't know what it's like to be. So the rhetoric that's been coming out has been, it's before their frame of reference. They have no frame of reference. It is totally foreign to them until it happens to them, and then it becomes an oh my. But other than that, it's they have no frame of reference.
I'll tell you something fascinating, and this is something that I personally witnessed, okay? So just listen to this. Okay. A few weeks ago when the Billy Bush stuff was brought forth, that day I had Rita and I had some company over at the house. We were having a cookout, right? So this friend was over, didn't know about the Billy Bush stuff, but was also a Trump supporter, right? And is reading this Billy Bush stuff and literally spent about an hour listening to all of the coverage, and we're cooking. And this person literally said the election's over. There's no way that Trump is making it to the White House. It's over. And then I'm going to say about an hour later, we had some more guests arrive and we started talking about the Billy Bush stuff. And they said, it doesn't matter. Right? And I said, what do you mean it doesn't matter? Man, this is the media making hype. This is that. He didn't know his mic was on. He was just talking crap, and it just doesn't matter. So here I have these two diametrically opposed opinions from two Trump supporters, right? And I thought it was so fascinating to listen to this. One was like ready to throw in the towel, and the other was like, no, it just doesn't matter. And since the Billy Bush stuff came out, there's been a whole mountain of other stuff. His support, apparently, if you listen to the polls and listen to the media, his support has increased. And I have to step back, and just like you do, Wanda, you have to step back and go, how is this possible? Well, is it just because a vast section of America, I'm not going to say majority, is just fed up with the system that they're willing to look past all of this because it's better than, in their opinion, it's better than the other side. You know what I mean? It's crazy how this country has gotten to the point today that this is how we are looking at the situation that we are in. That's what's fascinating to me.
Well, I totally agree with you. And what we do have is disenfranchisement and displacement, what I call displacement of aggression and anger. It's hard to be angry against people who are quote unquote in power or who have or who are privileged. It's easier it's almost animalistic. It's easier to have anger and aggression against people who are perceived to be of lower status than to have anger and aggression towards those in power.
Right.
Really?
Right.
So, yeah, so you understand what I'm talking about.
I do 100%. So then I have to throw this back at you, which is the obvious question, Wanda. Trump gets elected on Wednesday. Are you supporting Trump as an American?
As an American, of course, we have to. Well, we don't have to. It would be nice if one could support whoever is the representative of our nation. However, when his supporters start being violent against the other, whoever the other is, because they feel empowered to do that, I can't.
Yeah.
Because he is not using his ability as a representative of this country. He's not representing all people.
Is that a Pandora's box, though?
Yes, it is.
Right.
And there was part of me that wanted to say, well, we can always leave the country.
Right.
Because I'm married to an immigrant.
Right.
He's a naturalized citizen, but I could go to another country. I could try to move to Canada, because they welcomed us with open arms. There are a variety of things that I could do, but there's also a strong part of me that says I can't leave because there are too many other people that I have to be concerned about.
Right.
To fight for their equity, for their social justice. It's not just me, Wanda, as a person of color. It's all of our LGBT, people, that population. It's our people with disability. It's everybody. Everybody who's not part of the dominant culture. So I wouldn't be working for myself. I would be working for social justice and equity for others.
Right. I read today that the Google search for Americans moving to Canada and how to do it is up by 3,500%. I just read that today. Rita and I kind of joked about this, but Rita and I, like 2 months ago, as this election was, coming down to the wire, or becoming clearer, I should say. We actually did. We looked at home prices in Vancouver. We did, and we started to look into what it was like to and what the process was to become a Canadian citizen, just for grins, research purposes, I should say. And I gotta say, there's one thing that I found really interesting in that is that Canada makes it hard. You cannot become a Canadian. So forget about it. You cannot do it. You just can't. They don't want anybody there. And now there's a process open for it. Yes, you can get there, but it is so difficult. And just to get the door cracked open, you have to meet certain criteria. I'm telling you right now, if you have a DUI, right? You're an American citizen. You have a DUI. You are not going to Canada. I'm just telling you that right there. So any criminal record or anything, and it goes down to so many different levels. But they make it very, very, and it's not only on the criminal side. There's other things that come into play, but they make it very, very difficult. And if we had those same laws in place in the United States, nobody would be coming into the United States. I mean, I'm serious about this too. It was a fascinating read that Canada has the things in place that they do. They want zero riffraff. Zero. And I'm talking.
I don't blame them. I really don't blame them. I mean, let's face it. This country, what did we get here first? We got the riffraff, right?
Well,
they threw the people out and sent them over here.
Well, and see, and also too, one of the points that I really always want to make and go back. We are, and it's obvious, but it needs to be said over and over and over again. We are a nation of immigrants. You, Wanda, are an immigrant. My family.
No, actually, I'm not an immigrant.
How so?
I am the. My ancestors were slaves.
Okay, but they still came from another country. That's all. They came
from another country, but not willingly.
Oh, okay. All right. You, obviously, your doctorate is going to be well earned. Okay, so, but that being said, my ancestors came from England, right? Everybody in this country came from somewhere. And if you think about all of those boatloads of immigrants that came in from 1900 to 1930, right? All the riffraff, the doors were wide open. And you know what? They became great citizens, and we were a better country because of it. And
we still are.
Yes.
We still are a better country.
Yes, and so that I just don't think that. Look, I'm going to upset a lot of conspiracy theorists out there with what I'm about to say, but look, I don't think that us allowing immigrants into this country, there's going to be this secret infiltration that's going to overthrow the government, right? That there's going to be this big right. No, stop with that. I just we cannot go away from our basic principles and the foundation that made this country great to begin with. And if we go and if we have that mentality, that crazy Fourth Reich mentality of hatred and racial divide and so forth, if we go there, that's the downfall of this country. That's what will bring us down. That's what will stop us in our tracks.
You're absolutely right. So I know you had to go to other people, and I want to thank you very much for taking my call. I've been listening to you, I guess, for about your show for about a year, and yes, I am also a conspiracy theorist. I do strongly believe, that we, as a people, well, we could get into that, I guess, but we were not the first people on this planet. And we will not be the last.
Thank you so much, Wanda. And
thank you.
Go get your doctorate.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I'll talk to you. Great phone call. Deuce Guy just said, thank you, Wanda, for that. And I actually have no comment. She's very smart, and she knows exactly what's going on. Her feet are on the ground. But we cannot lose sight of what made this country so great. We just cannot. Deuce Guy just tweeted, Jimmy, if you ever diss the Bieber on social media, you'll never be admitted to Canada ever again. Oh, my goodness. What a great show tonight. All right. Janet Reno, the first woman to serve as U.S. Attorney General in the epicenter of several political storms during the Clinton administration, has died. She was 78 years old. She died early this morning from complications of Parkinson's disease. Her goddaughter, Gabriela de Alemberte, posted today. She said that Reno spent her final days at home in Miami, surrounded by family and friends. Janet Reno passed away today at the age of 78. Janet Reno. She was rowdy. Janet didn't play around, man. She did not play around. Did you hear this story today? Passengers on a commercial flight in Mexico had a snake on a plane, slithered into the cabin, and it was snakes on a plane for real. It was on an Aeromexico, and they confirmed today that a live 10-foot python was on board the flight Sunday afternoon, and this was in a statement released today. Flight 231, which makes the 2-hour trip once a day from Cahuilla to Mexico City, was forced to make an unexpected landing so animal control could come on board and collect the snake. A 10-foot python. Holy crap. I could not imagine. I have had crazy stuff on flights. Crazy stuff go down. Just nutty things. But never a snake on a plane. And that snake being a 10-foot python. And it was, I saw the video today. It was in the overhead luggage compartment. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mark. He just posted, I'm going to retweet this. Check that baby out. That thing is huge. Look at that. 10-foot python. Mark also stated earlier, and I found this interesting. Let me go back. He says, Australia votes this Saturday. Interesting, right? And their election only takes 8 weeks. Wow. Wow, very, yeah, man, we could learn. 8 weeks. All right, let's see, where am I? Okay. This is one of the craziest news stories that I have for all of you, and I don't believe, did I cover this? Hold on a minute. Hold on. Man, I can't remember if I did this last week. I'm going to do it again just in case, because it surfaced again today. So the U.S. Department of Agriculture has given its seal of approval to 2 new strains of genetically engineered potatoes by using double-stranded RNA. The potatoes have been engineered to resist the pathogen responsible for the Irish potato famine. There could be 2 new potatoes hitting the soil next spring after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, signed off on 2 more genetically modified potatoes from Simplot, an agribusiness based in Idaho, this past Monday. Now, the obstacle for the new potatoes becoming available on the market is a voluntary review process from the FDA. I'm not making this up. A voluntary review process. But there's a curse in disguise. The method used for engineering these potatoes is called double-stranded RNA, meaning the genes of an organism have been reprogrammed or silenced. A modification for browning and another for blight prevention means that there's a lot of change occurring in the living organism, and the modifications could interact with each other. Scientists around the world are aware that double-stranded RNA can also find matches in human DNA and potentially silence and reprogram our gene expression. Did you hear what I just said? That's right. Frankentators are coming to a store near you. And that double-stranded RNA modifications in those potatoes can find and seek out matches in human DNA and potentially silence and reprogram our gene expression. Listen to what I am saying. If there was ever a time to write your congressman, congressperson, congresswoman, it is now. Oh, man. All right. Let's see. Tomorrow, voters in 5 states will get to decide whether marijuana, the Mary Jane, the marijuana, should be legal recreationally. It's on the ballot in California, Massachusetts, Maine, Arizona, and Nevada. Currently, it's legal to use recreational marijuana only in 4 states and in the District of Columbia. Colorado and Washington State voted to okay it in 2012. Alaska and Oregon voters approved it in 2014. 4 states where recreational use is legal. It comes to have been a boost in the economy. The marijuana industry created more than 18,000 full-time jobs last year and generated $2.39 billion in economic activity in the fine state of Colorado. All right, folks, that's it. We've come to an end here. Tomorrow is the day. Go and vote. Or not. Vote. Go and vote. I know what Bobo said, but go and vote. That's me. Just go and do what you got to do. Fade to Black's executive producer is Rita Kamarian. Show is produced by Hilton J. Paul, Mark D. Kovar, LJ3, Renee, Mark Dunbar, Jonas. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Fady Bidell. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA, The Planet. Thank you, Mark Dice. Thank you to everybody that called in tonight. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Until tomorrow night, our big election night special, Mike Barra and Andrew Bishago. Everybody be safe. Gobekli Tepe.